Horror Coast to Coast is a movie review podcast featuring strong language, horror film spoilers, and discussions of violence, gore, and disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Holiday Coast to Coast, where we review Christmas specials from opposite sides of the continental U.S. Parked outside of a haunted house, I'm Brian.
And settling in for some quality late 90s primetime TV, I'm Michelle in New Hampshire.
And this week we're reviewing 3 Christmas episodes of our favorite horror-adjacent TV shows: The X-Files, How the Ghost Stole Christmas, Buffy, Amends, and A Very Supernatural Christmas.
Right, so starting with our X-Files episode, How the Ghost Stole Christmas. This is episode 6 from season 6, which is personally my favorite season of the X-Files overall. But in this episode, the agents put aside Christmas wrapping to stake out an alleged haunted house occupied by a mysterious married couple.
Or is it?
Yeah. And this is one of those episodes that kind of throws you in the middle of things. Mulder has some inkling about something that's been going on, and you kind of learn as it unfolds, along with Scully, who is equally like, WTF.
Yeah, so Mulder's on his usual bullshit, and he's dragging Scully into it on Christmas Eve.
Right, and she pulls up to like this stakeout, and she's got a bunch of gifts in the car, and she's like, "What the fuck are we doing? I have gifts to wrap. Why are we here?" And it doesn't even seem like it's a real investigation. He's like sitting there eating his sunflower seeds and just like, I don't know, there's just something about his demeanor that's very like mischievous kid. Like he's not really interested in something that has any real consequence to any other part of what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's up to bullshit even more than usual, and this is like the flimsiest case he could have picked, but he's just like, yeah, I want to stake out a haunted house on Christmas Eve. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I think he maybe mentions that there have been reports of ghosts being sighted, or does he mention the possibility of double murders in the past? I don't even remember. It says at the beginning.
Yeah, he says the legend is that a couple committed suicide in this house. They had a suicide pact.
Right, okay.
So they're getting paid for this, right?
I mean, yeah, if they're federal agents, they're salaried, so they get paid.
Well, usually they're investigating something where there's like a body or a missing person, but this is just Mulder
Okay.
doing something he wants to for fun on our tax dollar.
Well, so here's what I would say is probably the case. I think that yes, they are technically getting paid because they are salaried workers, but I would have a very hard time allowing them expenses from this investigation. Like, if they were like, we traveled this many miles, denied, I would deny that expense report right off the bat. Like, tell me more about what the fuck you were doing, because that is a waste of tax dollars. Like, we're already paying you to do these things, so you should at least be trying to, save us a little bit of money. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think their expense report's getting approved for this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what happens in season 6, episode 7, but I hope it starts off with just Skinner calling out their bullshit for even doing
So
this.
it might. Episode 7 of season 6 is one of my favorite episodes of the whole show. It's the one with Bruce Campbell.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how.
That's a good one.
I don't know how it starts off, but I mean how it starts when they're at the building, when they're in their office. I don't know if Skinner references the previous investigation of Christmas, which he very well might, because they did kind of do things like that. But yes, the next episode is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm fatigued on the demon pregnancy thing, but that's one of the best to ever do
Oh,
it,
yeah.
is that episode.
Absolutely.
Because they turn it on its
It's
head.
so good. And it's also one of the best twist I think I've ever seen in anything ever.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay, so yeah, so we're here with a more skeptical than usual Scully, and she's right where the audience is right there alongside her, like, okay, what the hell's going on? And Mulder more so on his bullshit than ever, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? So they decide to go inside.
Well, doesn't he steal her keys in order to get her inside because she isn't having it? Because she's about to pack up and go home. She's like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
Mulder? I think he takes her keys and she has to basically forces her into the
yeah,
mansion. And then the door slams shut behind them.
yeah, and then she's automatically like, okay, let me start spewing all of the things that could possibly be explaining what's happening right now. And it's funny because usually I'm very much like, Gully, shut up and accept what's happening. But in this, she's like, okay, this is our imaginations and all of the things that we have learned over time working intellectually against us to support this story of this is a haunted house. There are ghosts here. And I mean, there's one part where a door opens creakily and creepily, and he's like, are you afraid now? And she says, yes, but it's an irrational fear. And I kind of like, I feel like that's one of the moments with Scully that I was like, you know what? I'm with her on this. I do think that there is an element when we talk about haunted houses, when you go in on a haunted house, I'm sure the people who put these haunted houses together are betting that the majority of it is in their minds. And so that's where the excitement comes in. And like that's kind of what she's talking about, which I was right with her. I was like, normally I feel like you're a party pooping naysayer, but here I get it. And you got shit to do. I'm right with you.
Yeah. So they hear some weird sounds and they think there's someone else in there and they go snooping around and eventually they find two coffins and or maybe it's one coffin with two bodies inside. And it takes them way too long to realize, wait, they're dressed exactly like us. Wait, that's literally us.
Yeah. And this is one of those things that I was waiting the entire episode for it to be explained because I really like the fact that it shows you something immediately that can't be explained away, that's impossible, and you're like, "Oh, no. Scully's wrong. What's happening?" Yeah, so that was it for me. I was like, "Okay, now I need to know what's gonna happen. Like, tell me what this is. Give me the explanations."
Yeah. So then they split up and Mulder like goes through a door and then looks behind him and there's like a brick wall there instead of a doorway. And
Yeah.
then this guy just shows up and like they're both like, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, well, it's my house. What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, and so the guy is played by Ed Asner, and they don't split up intentionally, which I thought was interesting because it wasn't their intention to split up. They essentially were walking into the same room over and over again, and they would go through one door, go out the other door, and come back into the same room, and so their idea was, "Okay, if we're just going in a loop, then you should go out that door, I'll go out this door, and we should end up back in the same room." And of course, that actually is the thing that splits them up. Which I was like, "Oh, dang it. That was a good plan, but now you're separated." And, of course, when they try to go back through the same door, there's a brick wall.
Yeah. So eventually Mulder accuses him of being a ghost. He's like, oh, you're ghost hunters. The gun really had me fooled. They don't usually have guns.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Pretty pretty cheeky ghost right off the bat. And he's like, "What brick wall? I don't see a brick wall. I can go right through it." And he walks through, and it's seemingly an open door, and Mulder tries again, and there's a brick wall. So it's like the ghosts immediately come in and start fucking with him.
Yeah. And so meanwhile, Scully runs into Maurice's wife, who's played by Lily Tomlin.
Right, a very young-looking Lily Tomlin. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
At this point, Scully is freaked the fuck out. She's got her gun drawn. She's got that wild ass expression on her face, like, oh my God, I'm going to shoot you. And she's like, I really don't want to shoot you. I actually really love Gillian Anderson in this scene because she just goes bananas. She's just like, "Holy shit, what's happening? I can't get a mental grasp on this whole situation. It's out of control. What the fuck has Mulder done with me? Also, where's Mulder?" It's one of those things where you can tell how intense their relationship is because she just loses her faculties when she's like, "Where is he? I don't know where he is, and I'm in this situation on my own. He brought me here, and he's supposed to be the one who knows what to do." But yeah, she's got a gun on her, and of course, Lily Tomlin is like, "Yes, yes, sure."
Both of these alleged ghosts start like sowing mistrust,
Yeah.
both trying to get Scully and Mulder to suspect each other.
Yeah, and then eventually they get together, and they kinda confirm that they are, in fact, the 2 ghosts that Mulder was referring to at the beginning, the 2. I mean, I don't know if it's I guess it's suggested that they are the couple that had the murder-suicide pact, because Lily Tomlin reveals she's got a huge hole in her midsection, and then, Ed Asner, who was wearing that hat, takes it off, and there's a hole in his head, and so yeah, I didn't quite get what their motivation was, except that they were just fucking with them, like, this was just a fun activity on Christmas Eve.
I think so. And I mean,
Okay.
that seemed to be Mulder's motivation too. So everyone but Scully is just trying to have some Christmas fun, and she's caught up in the middle of this bullshit.
Yeah,
Poor Scully.
kind of fun. Kind of funny too because, what a way to have the joke be on her.
Yeah. So Mulder's really getting what he asked for.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's
like his
true.
Christmas wish came true.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay, so then after the ghosts kind of touch base with each other and they're like, "Let's really see if we can get these 2 to go the distance." They go back to their respective people. The wife goes back to Scully, the husband goes back to Mulder, and they keep on chatting with them and trying to get them to admit how lonely they are, to admit how much they love the other, to admit to how much they love the
Yeah.
other person. And I think at first that was just supposed to be a part of their the thing that they do, that they take these what is it? Star-crossed lovers, that's the expression I was looking for. And this is the thing that is their demise, right? And so they have to kind of establish that, "You guys are lovers, aren't you?" Right at the beginning, and Mulder and Scully are both like, "No, we're not." And it's very wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience, right? Because
Yeah.
they have been shipped from season 1, and they never, ever have an on-screen coupling. And so they're both like, "No, they're just my partner at work." And the ghosts are like, "But you love each other. Just admit it." They're like, they're very, very much like, "Ugh, I don't know what you're talking about," which is very funny. But anyway.
Yeah, they're like simultaneously psychoanalyzing them and also gaslighting them.
Right, right. Yeah. So it was interesting, like mildly amusing and mildly frustrating at the same time, but also still enough to keep me engaged. I've seen this episode many, many times. And so the fact that I can come back and it always feels fresh and it always feels like, "Ooh, I want to know what happens," even though I know what happens, always makes me like appreciate the X Files in general.
Yeah. So the ghosts have them both convinced that the other one is going to shoot them. And that's already in their mind since they've both seen their own corpses being
Right.
shot. So at this point, they're gaslit enough to believe it.
Right. And then the ghosts you are revealed to have at least the ability to take physical form and hold objects and stuff because eventually one that looks like Mulder shoots Scully. Appears that he's shooting her, but I think it's the wife kind of doing this glamour as if she's Mulder.
Yeah.
So it's not Mulder who pulls the trigger. And so she shoots her, and now Scully is like, "Oh, what the fuck just happened?" And it's kind of heartbreaking when she's like, "I did not think you were gonna shoot me. Holy shit."
Yeah. But I'm not sure that was a real gun. I mean, that could have been as much a hallucination as her changing form.
I
But I
agree.
guess they I don't know if they're ever actually, like, physically doing anything or if it's all just manipulating their perception of it.
No, I agree. I think that's the point of the whole episode.
Yeah.
I don't think the gun is actually real, and I think the ghost being able to, like, affect things physically, that's a ruse. That's not a
Yeah.
thing they're actually doing. So in Scully's mind, Mulder has taken his gun and shot her with it, and then from our perspective, the ghost has taken a gun, has physically picked up a gun and shot Scully with it. But I think that's even a way of fooling the audience because the ghost isn't actually doing anything, right? And we don't find that out until later. Um, but of course, you're like, "Oh no, Scully's been shot, and the ghost looked like Mulder when she did it, and so now Scully thinks Mulder shot her." Gasp. So, and then of course they allow Mulder to come back in the room.
Yeah. And so she seemingly shoots Mulder.
Right. And then it shows again that it's a ghost pretending to be Scully. And I can't decide if it's the ghost pretending to be Scully or the ghost kind of taking over her body for a second. Because
Yeah,
he ends up in the actual same room, the same space with her.
yeah. It's her. I think it's the ghost taking the form now because I feel like they're in different places seemingly when it happens, and then
Okay.
they end up together. So they're
Okay.
both bleeding all over the place and
Yeah.
just leaving massive trails of blood all over this mansion. Mulder's like crawling down the stairs and there's just so much blood. It's like, yeah, they're dead.
And
They're clearly dead.
it's so comical, and I thought that was so
Yeah.
weird, how it's so funny.
Yeah. I
Maybe it's
mean,
because they put that
it's great though.
yeah, they put that music behind it, so it's, like, kind of got a humorous element to it, and you're just like, "I don't get it. I'm so confused. Are they dying? Are they not dying? Or do they really do they think the other person has shot them?" And then at one point, I thought, and I think that maybe this was the point, that the ghosts were out to convince the 2 of them that they had shot each other in the hopes that they would really shoot each other, right? Because there's a point at the bottom of the steps when they're both laying there and they hold their guns to each other, and you're like, "Oh, no, the ghosts have manipulated you into thinking that you need to do this." Was the whole intention to kind of recruit them, like, to get them to the point of, "Okay, I can't trust you because you've shot me, and you're gonna shoot me again if I don't do something, and so I have to shoot you for real." And then Mulder thinking the same thing. But, of course, Mulder somehow just comes to his senses.
Yeah. Mulder comes to his senses. He realizes he's not like he should be dead with all that blood, but
Yeah.
he's totally fine. And then he's like, "Get up, Scully." And Scully's like, "I can't." He's like, "You can. You're fine. You're not shot." It's so funny.
Yeah, and it's great because she's like, "What? Okay," and just believes him and just does it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. I definitely see what you're getting at with the music, because between the Christmas music and just, like, the kinda whimsical music in general, you're very much set up not to take this seriously.
Yeah,
If you change the music of this episode, it'd be so much more fucked up,
yeah,
especially, like, if you're getting legit horror music while Mulder's just bleeding all over the place.
yeah, yeah, and this is something as people who have watched multiple episodes of X-Files, we are primed to recognize because this is the music that they insert whenever it's a humorous situation or it's a humorous episode. I mean, there's even episodes where Krychek comes in and there's an interaction between him and Mulder and they hate each other, but that music comes in and you're like, "Oh, this is supposed to be funny," even though they're mortal enemies. The music does this thing that really, really shifts the dynamic of the scene whenever it's introduced, and I think that's really well done, really effective in this show because it is the same music. It's the same kind of music. I don't know if it's the same notes or whatever, but it's the same, like, tone, the same instrument, and it's just like, "Insert our comical music here," so that they know not to take this too seriously. It's great.
Yeah, I actually think they kinda overdo it with Krychek sometimes because it gets to the point where it's just like, "Oh, Krychek, that dork,"
Wah, wah.
where
Yeah.
he should be like a real villain, but just like, "Oh, Krychek, who else but Krychek?"
Yeah. Like, you remember the episode with the vampire? And
Yeah.
and Mulder, like, essentially takes a gamble because he has all this, folklore that he's researched, and it's like they can't resist counting things. So the vampire's in his room, and he, on a whim, just throws a bunch of sunflower seeds on the ground, and then the vampire's like, "God damn it," and he gets on the ground, he's like, "When I'm done with this, like, I'm gonna get you, you're in for it," but that music is in the background, and you're like, "I get it now, this thing that has killed other characters is not a threat in this moment because they played the funny music."
Yeah, that episode's hilarious,
Well,
and I
yeah.
also just I love that it's the sunflower seeds that Mulder's been eating in, like, every
Yes.
episode up until now, and now it's like Chekhov's sunflower seeds, they save his ass, and it's
Yeah.
not forced at all because he was always just eating them anyway.
Yeah. And I've heard, I mean, you know the deal with the sunflower seeds, right?
No?
I'm not sure if it's true, but I heard that, David Duchovny is a smoker or was a smoker, but they didn't want him smoking on camera. Or maybe he had quit for the role or something, but either way, the sunflower seeds is supposed to be a substitute for cigarette smoking. So
Yeah.
that's why the character is always eating sunflower seeds. I think it's David Duchovny's method of quitting cigarettes or his method of substituting for cigarettes when he couldn't smoke on set, something like that.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that, but it does make a lot of sense that you absolutely just can't have Mulder smoking given who
Yes.
his nemesis is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so they're like, "Get up, we're fine.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, so they're,
leave."
"We're fine," and then they just leave.
Yeah.
'Cause they've broken the illusion, and then, yeah, the old couple's like, "We almost had him,"
Yeah.
and then they go home, and then Scully shows up, and they told each other they wouldn't exchange gifts, but they do it anyway, and then we get to my big issue, which is, I wanna see what they got each
I
other,
was gonna
god damn
say,
it.
and we don't see what they got each other. And I think that I liked that because it doesn't really matter what they got each other, right? It's just kind of they couldn't resist thinking about the other person. That's all it was. And I liked that.
It doesn't actually matter, but I just want it because I'm obsessed with the show. I wanna know what they got each other, and I wanna know what they think each other wants for Christmas.
Yeah, well, if there's ever like a trivia and the question is what did Mulder and Scully get each other that time for Christmas, we never find out and that'll be like the trick question. So, in terms of rating, let's do Christmas trees.
Okay.
Um, I mean, this is not one of my absolute favorite. I think it's a pretty good X-Files episode. It's not relevant to the overall story. It's kind of a standalone throwaway episode in season 6. I'm not mad at it, but I don't love it. I'll give it a solid 3 Christmas trees.
I'm gonna give it 5 Christmas trees, but they're the little Charlie Brown ones.
Okay.
'Cause I love this. I watch it every
Okay.
year, and it just I don't know, it delivers on what I want out of an X-Files Christmas episode,
I mean,
aside from that one little thing where I wanna see where they got each other.
yeah, I mean, a 3 Christmas tree X-Files episode is probably like a 4.5 Christmas tree episode of something else, which we'll see later. So, um, I don't know. Now I wanna revisit this. We'll say 3.5 Christmas trees, or maybe we don't do half Christmas trees. Maybe we do 3 regular Christmas trees and 1 Charlie Brown. Okay, awesome. So, on to our next show.
Alright, next up, we got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 3, Episode 10, Amends.
Okay, and here, Buffy hopes for a quiet Christmas, but Angel is troubled by visions of his past and the ghost of Jenny Calendar. Um, this was a bit of a challenge in terms of getting everything straight because this is an episode that has so many little background stories that you need to be aware of. So let's see. The basis of this episode is the focal point of the episode is about Angel, who has now returned from the hell dimension that Buffy sent him to at the end of season 2. And he's now coming to terms with all of the things that he had done when he was briefly brought back as Angelus after he and Buffy have sex. She loses her virginity to him, and that brings back Angelus. It breaks the gypsy curse that was put on him. And so during the time as Angelus, he did a bunch of horrible things, including kill off uh, a kind of main character at the time, Jenny Calendar, who was a teacher at their school, and she was also the love interest of Buffy's Watcher Giles. And so in this episode, Angel's having all of those things drudged up and are haunting him in his sleep. Meanwhile, everyone else is sort of reeling from the events of season 2, which I think is interesting that it's taken this long. I mean, episode 10 is like halfway through the season, but it's taken this long for all of those characters to get to the point where they are kind of coming to terms with all of the things that had happened at that time, um, which I guess is a testament to how good the show was at developing characters. Um, and I think every single character here has a significant story arc that is addressed in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we get that little previously on Buffy thing at the
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
And when you're watching it episode to episode, those get really annoying. But then just watching an episode randomly like this is not even sufficient. Like, that could have been like 20 minutes of previously on Buffy.
100%. Especially since most of those shots were from season 2.
Yeah. So, like, if you're not someone who's watched the first 2.5 seasons of Buffy, this is a very not good place to enter. This isn't really a standalone episode. This is a lot of wrapping things up, a lot of interpersonal drama that's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
The other two are kind of like Christmas bottle episodes, but this one doesn't really work like that. It's more like it's a mid-season finale that happens to take place on Christmas.
Right. And I think it's also wiping the slate in a way.
Yeah.
Because we had been dominated by this Angel Buffy storyline pretty much all the way from season 1. And this is kind of where they're wrapping it up in a way and just allowing Buffy and Angel to kind of put things to rest and not necessarily go their separate ways, but sort of come to a standing point where they're all okay with how things are. But it wipes the slate with Angel and Buffy to make way for what is coming with Buffy and Faith. And I think we need to at this point, get rid of the focus on Angel and Buffy, because what's about to unfold with Faith is going to be it's going to be the precipitator for the real events of the season and how things are going to end. And they only have at this point 10 or 12 episodes to do it in. And so they're kind of like, we got to cut this loose. At least that's how I would be viewing it, that Joss Whedon was like, all right, we need to tie these ends up so that we can move on to the real story arc for season 3.
Yeah. So this is basically every single character is like reeling from some kind of ended relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And also we're going to introduce the main villain.
Right.
So it's really like the worst episode if you're just watching one episode.
Agree.
It's like, here's all this stuff wrapped up. Here's what's going forward. And it's like the crossroads.
No, you're right. I watched it with a friend and I had to explain a hell of a lot of stuff before we even started the episode.
And was this her first Buffy episode or?
No, she had seen other episodes, but not recently, and it didn't have the chronology accurate. And so I had to kind of put things in place. And basically at some point I was like, let's just watch it. And when things come up, I'll explain what's going on.
Yeah. So we start off in Angel's dream, where he has a terrible wig and an even worse accent.
Oh my gosh, I know. Oh, yeah. So it's a random guy. We know nothing about this person. It's just a person who he's about to victimize.
Yeah. So Angel gives his Lucky Charms accent to this guy and he murders him. And then he wakes up, Buffy's shopping, and Angel runs into Buffy. And again, he sees this guy that was just in his dream from his past that he murdered.
And tiny bone to pick here. I fucking hate her bangs in this episode. I don't know how long it
Oh, I
lasts.
was gonna mention that. Yeah, that's the worst. It reminds me of
Oh my god.
Courtney Cox in Scream 3.
Oh lord. Um it reminds me of the love interest in High Fidelity. Not Lisa
I haven't
Bonet.
seen it.
Yeah, not Lisa Bonet, the blonde girl. She had bangs like that and they just holy shit. What the hell was anyone thinking? I hate those little micro bangs. They're so stupid. Anyhow,
Okay, but to be fair, when does a girl give herself terrible bangs if not after murdering her boyfriend?
that's true. Well, I mean, no, she got a really cute haircut after season 2 ended, and then grew it
Oh,
out.
did she?
Yeah,
I don't
cause
remember,
yeah, cause in
but they are terrible.
yes, the bangs are horrible, but you're right. I thought you were gonna say, when does a girl get a really terrible haircut, other than high school? I was like, "Yes, that's the
Well,
time."
that too. Yeah, but a high school girl dealing with relationship problems is like the number one cut your bangs too short demographic, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so she runs into Angel and they're awkward as hell, like, embarrassingly awkward.
Yeah, so she's shopping for everyone. She's like, "Oh, you're probably not shopping. What the hell is Angel doing here?
He's brooding. He's walking in the
Why
snow.
is he brooding in like the shopping area?
I do not know. All
Was
I
he just
know
hoping to run
is,
into Buffy? I mean,
um,
that is his speed. He's always just trying to run into Buffy.
yeah. Yeah. He's just he's trying to run into Buffy. I wouldn't be surprised if that was it, but my impression is that he was just walking around thinking, reflecting on his life and all the horrible things he did, and then, "Ooh, oh, wait, Buffy happens to be there."
So Angel keeps having visions of people he murdered, and Buffy also starts to experience Angel's dreams of his past.
Right. And Buffy is basically like, "I'm very sure that these are not my dreams because these are things I know nothing about in my waking life. And I'm seeing him in my dreams. I'm seeing him do things and I'm hearing his horrible accent. So obviously, these are his dreams." I don't know. I think that's a very smart deduction of her, but I'm still not convinced by how she's so confident. I guess it's more like this is a 50-minute episode or a 45-minute 42-minute episode or whatever, and so we can't explore how she knows. We're just gonna say she knows it's his dream. It's some Slayer intuition, and she just knows.
I want to ask, have you dreamed you were someone else or dreamed from the perspective of someone else before?
No, never.
Want to know something weird is I did once, and the person who I thought I was his name Quinn, the Irish guy from Angel?
Oh, I love
For
that
some reason, I
guy.
dreamed through his perspective one time.
Wow. Not just another person, but like an established character. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's just so weird that like I had this weird experience and it just happens to be Buffy adjacent while we're talking about Buffy having this experience of dreaming as someone else.
Yeah, and so was there any realization that it wasn't you weren't yourself, or you just accepted, "This is who I am"?
Yeah, as the dream went on, I started to realize I'm like, wait, I'm that guy from Angel. This isn't who I am. And then like eventually as I started to realize it, I woke up.
Oh, I see, okay.
So that's usually how it goes is I start to realize something isn't right in the dream and then it all just starts falling apart around me.
Okay, interesting.
So Buffy tells Giles, but she like downplays it and acts like it isn't a big deal. And Giles is like, wait, what? You're dreaming Angel's dreams? That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and is this before or after Angel visits Giles because Angel is
I think this is before, I
okay.
think.
Okay.
And then, like, basically, like, right after, yeah, he shows up. Because I think she does that, and then Angel starts seeing Jenny Calendar, who
Right.
is the person Angel killed and who is Giles' ex-lover.
Yeah.
So that's the main form of the entity talking to Angel throughout this episode after that reveal. And so he goes to Giles because Giles knows about these things, and also it's his ex-lover.
Right.
And Giles immediately pulls out a crossbow on him, and
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah, Giles, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's twofold, right? Because on one hand, you're like, he deserves it. What he did was horrible. Jenny Calendar was like the nicest character. She was quite useful, actually. She was a member of the Romani family that like put the curse on Angel. So I think she was like not a witch, but maybe witch like. Um super super smart, really, and then we all love to see Giles go bad. I mean, it's like one of the coolest things. So it was kind of like, yes, is Giles being bad Giles right now? I'm all about this, and Angel deserves it.
I know, instead of going forward with a soft reboot, we should go back and have a The Ripper show,
Oh yeah,
where it's just all Giles being a badass. So I don't know about you, but I pretty much hate Angel throughout the entirety of Buffy. I only like him on Angel.
I can see that. I didn't mind him. I did think the show was too much about Angel at some points. But I did think that his Angelus arc was one of the better things. Um, Especially when he's paired with Drusilla and Spike. I really like those storylines. I very much like that he tried to sow discord between Drusilla and Spike. I think those are the better episodes, and I think those were the most telling about who Angelus is. And I gotta say, I don't think Angel is really all that divorced from Angelus. I think he's kind of that same person, but has self control.
I don't know. They were always just too different from me. The other vampires that we see, like Spike with Without a Soul, they seem like the same person. Angela's just seemed like he was like a primal, like, I guess it would be that he just has no self control, but that makes it seem like every other vampire has control. Like, even Harmony seems like she has more control being the same person she was compared to Angel versus Angelus.
Well,
And
no,
that always bugged me.
no, I think that Angel is secretly a murderous bastard. I really do. I really think that Angel is like, I have all these dark thoughts and I know that I can't act on them. Whereas I would say Harmony was probably, well, now I'm a vampire, so I have to kill people and I'm hungry. There's a whole episode where she hangs out with Cordelia before she even reveals that she's a vampire. And you can just see, yeah, because Harmony's just like dumb ditz at the end of the day. And she really just wanted to be with her friend and then like sucks to be a vampire out of nowhere. I just don't see her as being nearly as insidious as Angel. I don't know. I just think he's horrible.
But
But
he's just so like racked with guilt all the time when he has a soul, and he's never really that evil in his spin-off show either. So it's just
that's true.
it seems very inconsistent.
The show Angel did a lot to redeem his character. Cause he was like, I don't know. He was like Darkwing Duck for all of Buffy, the terror that flaps in the night. Not like he never really showed up and like established himself. There were some episodes where he would show up to kind of help them. Oh, like at the end of season 3 when they're all like, "Okay, we need everybody on board to help us fight Faith and the mayor." And Angel shows up and he is kind of like, "Okay, here's what we should do and here's what I can contribute." And that's when he was kind of at his best in this show. But that, I think, is the logical jumping point for him to go and be Angel in his own show. Um, so yeah, I can see you hating him a lot in this and liking him a lot more in the show. I liked him a lot more in the show. Heck, I liked Cordelia a lot more in the show.
Yeah. All right, so where were we? Giles pulls the crossbow on him, but ends up not doing it.
Well, yes, because Angel's like, something is going on with me and I'm having these dreams. And then he realizes, okay, my duties as a watcher to figure out what's going on with Buffy are paramount. And so I'm going to have to put aside my personal bias.
Although just shooting him might end the dream, so.
That's true. That is true.
So the entity that is taking the form of Jenny Calendar is telling Angel he needs to kill Buffy.
Right.
So Buffy and Giles do their investigation. It leads them to a cult called the Bringers of Death. And they find out that this thing that's haunting Angel is not the ghost of Jenny Calendar, as the summary claimed it was. It is the first evil.
Yeah. And I hate this. And this is part of the reason I don't like this episode. Because the first evil ends up being the big bad of the entire show of season 7, and I just don't think it was I don't think it was conceptualized well enough. I hated it. I didn't like it as a big bad. Then later on, I don't like it as a big bad here, and I don't like that it comes back. But that is neither here nor there.
I kind of like what they do with it in later seasons, but here it's just, it's not much of anything in this episode other than a shapeshifter who's whispering misdeeds into Angel's ear, basically.
Exactly. And Buffy figures out where their lair is and goes there and like smashes up their altar. She doesn't even kill anything. She has this like snarky exchange, and that seems
Doesn't
to
she
be
clobber some monks?
she like, I mean, they're blind too, right? And they have like, ooh, they have the creepiest symbols etched where their eyes should be, by the way. I thought that was really effective in terms of being kind of scary. But yeah, she beats them up, but they're not. I mean, I think they're human. I think they're just like a
Yeah,
culty monks that are devoted to this entity. Um,
exactly. But they remind me of those guys from X-Files who, sew their orifices shut so the black goo won't get
oh my
in.
god, that's way creepier though. But
Oh yeah,
yes,
those guys are way better.
those guys are so
But
creepy.
yeah, in terms of the typical Buffy action, you get almost none of it in this episode. There's like 3 seconds of her clobbering some monks.
Yeah. Well, she just smashes up their altar and she beats them up a little bit. She doesn't kill any of them. And then, like I said, she has this exchange. Oh,
Well,
and at
she
some
doesn't
point,
kill people, and they're people,
right.
right?
Yeah, they're
So
people.
it would be a huge deal if she did kill them.
Right. Well, at some point, the entity has an interaction with Angel, and when she's trying to convince him to kill Buffy, he's like, "I'd rather kill myself." And then the entity's like, "Okay, that solves the problem too." So I don't quite know what this the goal here is. Like, I don't understand what this entity needs from him. Why is it fucking with him to begin with? I don't get that. Um,
Yeah, I figured it was to get the Slayer out of the way.
yeah,
But yeah,
no.
not having a problem with Angel killing himself kind of throws that plan out the window.
Right. And the one thing I also thought when it's like trying to convince him to kill the Slayer, in my mind, I'm like, hello, did you not see all of season 2? He literally spent the whole season trying to kill her and I couldn't do it. So, been there, done that. And he could have been like, I tried that already and look at where it got me. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not like I won't do it, more like I fucking can't.
Yeah. So I guess it's the first evil is trying to use Angel's guilt to manipulate him,
Mhm.
but it doesn't really work because guilt is like the only thing that he ever feels when he has a soul anyway. So it's
It's
like,
the guilt that keeps him going.
yeah,
That's true, that's funny. Um, yeah, so then Buffy's like, "Oh my god." Oh, yeah, because the entity's like, he's about to see his last sunrise, and Buffy puts 2 and 2 together and goes and runs to him, and they have this whole, like, interaction that, in my mind, super sad and, like, did a tear come to my eye listening to them talk to each other? Yes. But here's the thing, I have a pathological obsession with the show, and so stuff like that gets to me. But, like, standing outside and just watching this exchange, there is a little bit of an eye roll because it's like, "Oh my god, this is so dramatic," and she's convincing him, but let me tell you, that moment when he's like, you know, I'm not worth it. There's nothing in this world. There's no reason. There's nothing." And she says, "But what about me?" Like, I almost started crying because I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell. She's a kid." Like, you get to the end of it and you're like, "Damn it." She's being all self-righteous Buffy, like, "I know the right answer and I'm doing the moral thing." And then it comes down to, "You're really hurting her feelings, dude. Like, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not above getting emotional over Buffy, but it's never gonna be a Buffy Angel scene that gets to me because I just like I basically go numb when they interact.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. That's what I said. Like, because I have this, like, pathological obsession with the show, I immediately am like, "But what about her?" And it that got to me, but yeah.
Yeah, basically, I could get sentimental over any character dynamic that doesn't involve Angel or Xander.
Oh, yeah. Xander's the one where I'm more like, "I don't give a fuck about you." Like, he loses an eye, and I'm just like, "Great, who cares?"
Yeah, take the other one.
Replace him with Nate Fillion because I prefer that anyway.
And imagine, this is Xander with a soul. What would happen if he was a
Ugh,
vampire? He'd be the biggest piece
puke.
of shit who ever existed.
Puke. There is an episode there's the episode where he and Willow become vampires, and Willow's super cool, and he still sucks.
Totally remember Willow being all like fierce and goth
Yeah, it was like
vampire. I
an
don't remember Xander at all.
it was an alt dimension maybe, or an
Yeah, I
alt
think so.
reality, something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, the snow starts to fall, even though it shouldn't snow in Sunnyvale.
Yeah, Sunnyvale, which I believe is modeled after Sunnydale in near San Jose, California, so it doesn't snow there. It never snows there.
Yeah. So Angel's not gonna die because there's too much cloud coverage, I guess.
Right, and this is kind of a hearkening to the powers that be idea that comes up later in the Angel show, that they have decided that he has a place in the world and they're not gonna let him just, like, throw it away or whatever.
They being Joss Whedon.
Right, yes. "No, you can't die, we have plans for you, and I have a spinoff for you," so
So they go for a walk through the snow. And did you pick up that this does not look like snow at all? Like it's
no,
definitely just like soap suds.
uh,
When it's on the ground, it looks nothing like snow. I'm like, have the producers of the show seen snow or have they never been out of California?
okay, so I'm glad you said that because that didn't, cross my mind, like, this isn't snow. In my head, I looked at it and I was like, "I think my, like, trypophobia is fucking me with me right now because I do not like what I'm seeing on the screen," and I was like, "Okay, let's just, like, fast forward
Because
this."
snow doesn't do that. That's the
Exactly.
whole problem. Is
Exactly.
snow does not make these weird, gross patterns.
Yes.
That's why I'm pretty sure it's soap suds.
Okay, okay. Perfect. I'm glad you said that because I put it out of my head when I was watching the scene. I was like, "Don't look at the bottom half of the screen because that looks gross." And I don't know if it's just some weird pattern in the snow that I'm, like, misinterpreting or misseeing. Yes, it fucked with me for sure.
Yeah, like it would be one thing, like I get that they have to use fake snow in a California Hollywood production. The real problem is that it looks gross and wrong.
Yeah. No, it
That's
did.
that's really
That's
my
very
issue with it.
funny. That's very funny that you said that because I thought it and I just kind of, "Whoop, let's get that out of my mind." Yeah, that was a bad choice. Agree.
All right, so we didn't mention that Willow is trying to seduce Oz this whole time after she was caught with Xander.
Yeah. So I really love the rest of what happens in this episode. The scene with Willow and Oz is great because Oz is like, he's like a super senior or something, or he's like a year or two older than everybody else. And so he's portrayed as being like more level-headed, wiser, smarter. There's just something about Oz that's like cool. He's chill, he's cool. And they apparently haven't really connected or spoken since this incident with her and Xander, which was just like a brief moment where they kiss. And Oz and Cordelia walk in on them at the same time, which I thought that was a little bit unlikely. But anyhow, it happens. And Cordelia leaves the room, runs up the steps, the stairs collapse in whatever building they were in, and she gets impaled on a piece of wood. So, as far as I remember, she's hospitalized. Xander goes to visit her, and she's like, "I never want to see you again." So that's where that leaves off. And I really love that Cordelia goes back to being Cordelia because there's a moment, there's some time in the season where she softens. She becomes nicer, she sort of becomes part of the group, and it's because she kind of develops these feelings for Xander. And then once he betrays her, she goes into, "Well, fuck you all again." And that's it. And she's like, "I want nothing to do with you. You're the worst." And back to her old friend group, back to her old snotty, stuck-up valley girl, rich daddy ways. And that's basically a wrap on her storyline for the rest of Buffy until she gets to Angel. I mean, she maybe comes back again in the end of season 3, but it's very reluctant because I think she doesn't she hook up with Wesley at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wesley hasn't showed up yet, but yeah, when Wesley comes, I think she comes back and starts hanging out with them again, and she hooks up with Wesley. But on the flip side, Oz is very stoic about everything. He's like, "Whatever, mistakes happen, I still care about you." And then Buffy says something so stupid, which is the thing that precipitates Willow to be like, "Okay, I have to, like, offer myself to Oz because that will show him I really care." She says something like, "You've proven that Xander is, like, the first on your mind," or something like that. It was so ridiculous. I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but this is terrible advice, Buffy." Um,
Yeah.
like, "You have to show Oz that he's number 1." And I'm like, "Okay, no, this is terrible, like, 90s relationship logic."
Yeah, and Willow does this thing that she always does, where if she gets feedback, she will completely abandon like all sense of self and just construct this thing that reacts to the feedback she just got.
Yeah.
So like this whole seduction, it isn't her at all,
Right.
but she's so like, oh, she annoys me so much in this scene because it's literally like she just like removes herself from the equation and tries to set up like a movie scene that's gonna go the way she wants it to, but she's not actually thinking of Oz's feelings at all. And he's being so reasonable. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not ready for this. Like, I'm not like angry at you, but this isn't how it's gonna go." And she's so delusional. And this happens a few times. Like, it's an interesting aspect of Willow's character that, like, she gets feedback and she's like, "Oh, I need to be someone completely different."
Yeah. I mean, she's insecure, right?
Yeah.
She's unsure of herself. She's very smart. She's very, like, I mean, I think I would also say she's immature as well. So that's probably why she takes this and she thinks, "Okay, who I am is not enough right now, so I need to be somebody else, or I need to do something that boys like." And then let's not forget there's also the backstory of her character being gay at the end of the day. So, um, we don't really know. And I actually don't know if it was intended for her to be a character who eventually comes out, or if it was like, you know what I mean? Because there could be absolutely zero there could be no intention of her being a gay character in this particular moment. And so then this would read as, okay, she is a teenage girl attracted to boys who doesn't really know how to behave around boys. That kind of makes sense with her behavior. I mean, and then is she confused? Is she trying to prove to herself that it's really Oz that she wants because she pined after her Xander for so long, kissed him one time, and nothing can come of it because she's committed to someone else? So it's kind of like, is this the chance that she's always wanted that's now something she has to throw away because she's committed to someone else? Like, I can see her being confused and thinking, "I need to take a drastic step, not necessarily for him, but to convince myself that this is what I wanna do." But I understand where you're coming from because it's not her, right? It's really she's a very, like, level-headed character. She's not this, impulsive. And I think there are times when she is impulsive, and you can see that it's because something is happening that she doesn't understand how to process. But I like Willow.
Yeah. And then I think the only other story we haven't talked about is just that Joyce asked Buffy to invite Faith to Christmas, and Buffy's like, we don't really talk.
Yeah.
And then she does anyway, and Faith's like, oh no, I have like a cool girl party to go to. I can't. But then she shows up anyway because that was a bluff. And
Yeah.
she really just wants family.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, at least what I think, this is the beginning of the end with Faith. Because I think Buffy's invitation is insincere. It's something she does,
And Faith sees that
and Faith
clearly.
sees it. It's insincere. It's something she does because her mom tells her to, but it's also something she does because in her mind, it's the right thing to do. And she does the right thing whether or not she wants to. And it comes across as like, you don't really want me there. But I think Faith probably remembers Joyce and probably realizes like, meh, it wouldn't be so bad to have someone mother me for once or have like a home cooked meal or whatever. There's benefits to doing this. And at the end of the day, she ends up spending time with Joyce. Buffy's not even there.
Yeah. All right, so we're ready to rate it?
I'm ready to rate it. Personally, I guess I'm okay with how all of those storylines sort of just like wrapped up. For example, there's a moment where Buffy and Giles sort of get together and they're trying to figure out what to do about Angel. And Xander shows up and he's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to help. I know Angel's involved, but I'm no longer going to make a sour face anytime his name is mentioned. I'm here. And it's because he knows that he had a part in the events that unfolded in season 2. Um, and he's like, "You know what? That got fucked up, and it's partly because of me, I had a part to play, and now I have to be a little repentant on top of what happened with him and Cordelia." So, yeah, I like how things wrapped up. I'm okay with it. But, uh, I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna go 3 Christmas trees. No, I'm gonna do 2 Christmas trees and a Charlie Brown.
Okay. I'm going with 2 Christmas trees.
Okay.
I thought it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't a very good episode. There wasn't, like, a lot with the actual action or anything. It was pretty much non-existent. It's a lot of just wrapping up all these relationship stories. It didn't really give me anything I want out of a Christmas episode. It didn't have holiday cheer. It just had Angel's guilt
Yeah,
overshadowing everything.
yeah. No, that's fair. I absolutely see that. It's not a good standalone episode for sure.
Yeah.
So that's
And it makes me wish we got like a later Christmas episode with, you know, I want to see one with Spike. I want to see Spike have Christmas.
yeah.
I want to see Spike try to make Buffy's Christmas good and fail miserably. That would be a good episode.
Yeah, that would be. Okay. All right, fair. I like it. And then our last episode.
Got A Very Supernatural Christmas, Season 3, Episode 8 of Supernatural.
Okay, so as Sam and Dean investigate murders where victims have been pulled up through the chimney, Sam realizes that they are dealing with a type of anti-Santa, a demon with roots in pagan lore. And so I will uh, add a tiny disclaimer here. Not really a disclaimer, but more of an explanation. This is the season of Supernatural that was affected by the Writers Guild strike in 2007. And so a lot of what happens in this season is a result of the writers essentially having to wrap the season up quickly. So instead of the 22 episodes, there are only 16 in this season. And so we get an abbreviated storyline. I can't tell you what the original storyline would have been. But as you know, at the end of the season, Dean goes to hell. And I would guess that they were going to find a way to have that not happen. Because we had an episode where oh, actually, no, Dean goes to hell first, right? So anyway, I can't imagine how the season was supposed to unfold. but part of the reason that we get what we're getting is because the writer's strike happened, and so the season was cut short. I love this episode. I love it so much.
Yeah. All right. So we start off and we get a guy dressing up as Santa Claus, and he rings a bell to apparently signal his kid to come downstairs, which is cheating, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, is this a thing in their household? Santa rings a bell so the kid can pretend to spy on him?
I don't know. The supernatural opener, I don't pay that much attention to, just because I know, okay, we're gonna see how the thing that's killing everyone in the episode kills everyone in the episode, and so I watched it, but I didn't pick up the tiny details. But yeah,
But yeah, I just thought it was weird because you could just have the classic scene of the kid trying to be sneaky and watching, but
yeah,
you didn't need the bell.
that's true.
But anyway, as soon as he does that, he gets ripped up into a fireplace, up the chimney,
Yeah,
and disappears. So then we flash forward and we get Sam and Dean impersonating FBI agents as usual, and they investigate the house. And it's a real quick investigation because while Dean is talking up the mom, Sam just comes out and is like, "We got what we need."
yeah.
And what he got was a bloody tooth that he found in the fireplace.
Right. Yeah. So then this is like quintessential Sam and Dean. They're living out of a hotel. They are doing research on their laptops. They are putting on their fake FBI gear to go interrogate people. This is also part of the show before they are kind of found out by the real FBI. Eventually they get found out by the real FBI.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yep.
after that point, they're kind of free and clear to impersonate FBI agents in the later seasons. But in the beginning, there is this tension of what if they get found out? Like they're walking around impersonating FBI agents. They have a couple of times where they show up and the real FBI's there and they're like, "Oh, we're the guys from this other office," and it works. But here is before they're free and clear to just impersonate FBI agents. So that there's that tension, which I kind of I hated while I was watching it, but on rewatches, I kind of love it.
Yeah, I like it. And I think it's funny that even though there's that tension, we still get Dean just picking rock and roll names for his agent every time. He's
Yeah.
like, "I'm Special Agent Jimmy Page, and this is my partner, Robert Plant."
Yeah. No,
I don't remember
definitely.
if we get one in this episode, but yeah, not exactly playing it slick, but he still gets away with it for like 4 seasons somehow.
Oh, yeah, and people are always like, "Aren't you guys young to be FBI agents?" It's very funny. But, yeah, so then they go back and Dean is like, "It's nothing." And, of course, Sam is like, "I don't know, there were a bunch of disappearances, and here's what's going on." And then Dean is like, "Yeah, but it's Christmas."
Yeah, and Sam's like, "I have an idea, but I don't want you to think I'm crazy." And Dean's like, "What could you possibly say that I'm gonna think is crazy?" And then Sam's like, "Anti-Santa. Every culture's got an anti-Santa. They gotta be real."
Yeah, and that's basically how their research goes, that they basically look up stories and folklore and then determine what the most common factors are and how many cultures have reported this, and they're like, "Okay, according to the cultural folklore, here is what they do, here are their weaknesses, here's how to kill them. That's what we're gonna go on." It's great, and they do have a phone called Bobby in here a couple times.
Yeah. So while Sam is focused on the investigation, Dean wants to have Christmas. And they have a conversation where Sam's like, "Why do you want to have Christmas?" And he's like, "Because it's my last year alive, you dipshit."
Yeah, but he doesn't say that at first.
Yeah.
At first, he's like, "'Cause we used to have great Christmases, don't you
Oh,
remember?" And
yeah.
Sam is like, "The
And then,
fuck are you talking about? No, we did not." And Dean insists that it's like a childhood thing he's trying to relive. Then finally he admits, "Okay, it's 'cause I'm, like, gonna be dead next year."
yeah. And it's like so boneheaded as Sam, but as someone who's just visiting this episode out of nowhere, I really appreciate this scene because it's like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, that's why he's gung ho about Christmas because this is the part where he is going to hell at the end of the season.
Yeah. And this is one of those times where you get Sam being self-centered, 'cause Sam has a lot of moments where he is self-centered, and he has a lot of moments where he is trying to essentially bring Dean back to reality. Because there are times when Dean goes off the deep end too, and Sam is like, okay, no, you're not looking at it the right way. And he does that. But then there are times where Sam is just being a self-centered asshole, and this is one of those times, which I think is always interesting.
Yes. Yeah, and those times always drive me crazy. They're pretty much constant. But we flash back and we get some looks at their childhood Christmases.
Mhm.
What do you think of the casting of these child actors?
So, I have always felt that the kid cast as Sam is excellent and not as happy with the kid cast as Dean. I don't
I
know
love them both.
I don't know if I really think that anymore, because that's how I used to feel, and I think at this point, I've seen it enough that I've accepted it, that these are their child actor the version of them when they were kids, so I don't really mind it, but I think at first that was how I originally felt, like, I mean, there's the episode where Sam meets, I can't remember her name, his friend, I can't remember her name, but he meets his friend who's a demon, and who's a monster, and she's like, lives with her mom, and eventually she grows up, and gosh, I can't remember the name of that episode. But anyhow, that episode is very focused on Sam as a kid, and it uses this actor. So I don't know. I like him.
Yeah, I really like them both. I think Sam is pretty much perfect. I can't imagine
Yeah.
like a better casting for a kid Sam. I really like Dean too. I can just picture this kid as Dean. Like I can project all of his personality traits onto this character. I think he sells the attitude of Dean. He might not look much like Jensen Ackles
Mhm.
as a kid. Like he probably doesn't. But I like his performance. He really sells me that this is a young Dean.
Yeah.
So I love these flashbacks. They're cute as hell.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting in the flashback that Sam didn't know anything about supernatural stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that, because in a lot of the flashbacks, it's about the 2 of them coping with supernatural stuff while their dad is away hunting. So this was kind of a surprise for me.
Yeah, so presumably this is like the first flashback we've seen with these actors because, yeah,
Probably.
most of them he's aware. And this is where Sam finds out that monsters are real. In fact, almost everything is real except for Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. And finds out that their dad is away so much because he's putting himself in harm's way, trying to kill these monsters, and that one of them killed their mom. Like, he learns all of that during the Christmas season, and that explains why Sam isn't so keen on Christmas. But I also think this is one of Sam's huge problems. My huge problem with Sam is that he is so self-centered and, like, kind of stuck up that he can't just explain this to Dean and say, "Look, Christmas is not that great for me because it doesn't really matter what good memories I had. The thing that sticks in my mind the most is this is when I was exposed to all of the things that have kind of ruined my life." Like, all the things,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, was a traumatizing thing for me, and I associate it with Christmas. I would rather not. You maybe found out about it at a different time, but for me, I connect it to Christmas, and he could have just said that. He could have explained it, and I think Dean would have, like, gone out of his way to understand and be like, "Okay, well, let's make a new memory for you," which eventually is what they do, but God, it's like pulling teeth to get Sam to own up to his feelings.
Yeah, there's this dynamic where Sam basically assumes his feelings are a given and like resents Dean for not like knowing and doing the right thing to make him feel better.
Yeah,
And Dean's always like actively trying to cover up his feelings. It's like, he's got to keep his poker face up. So he's
yeah.
actually like way more emotionally intelligent than Sam is,
Agree.
but actively puts up a stoic mask
Yeah,
and like tries to like make everything right on the down low, which
yeah.
is it's really a strong dynamic through this whole show. And it's one of the things I love and why I love Dean so much. And I basically just tolerate Sam because he's so important to Dean, and he's more like he's almost an obstacle to Dean more than another protagonist.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, especially what comes later.
yeah. And I actually did write down, Christmas is when Sam finds out that Santa isn't real, the reason why their dad is always gone. But Christmas is when his whole worldview is shattered, right? And the flashbacks also show the lengths that Dean had to go to as a child to protect Sam, not just to protect Sam from the world and from the monsters and whatever, but also protecting him from the truth. And his dad put that burden on him, like not to let Sammy know what's going on. And it just shows how well Dean handled it until Sam was like, "Tell me, tell me, tell me." And then he's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you, but this is the
He
thing."
doesn't tell him.
Oh, he finds the journal. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
And then
he's
he's like,
keeping up this lie
yeah,
that dad's a door-to-door salesman, and it isn't Dean's fault, but yeah,
right.
apparently there's a book with all of
Yeah, you're right. He
dad's
finds the
monster fights in it, and he finds it.
Yeah, he finds it and he's like, "Well, I found this," and then Dean tells him, "Okay, I'll tell you about it." But yeah, I agree with you. I do think that Dean has a higher emotional IQ, and I think it's interesting that the show has done so much to convince the audience that Sam is the softie, that Sam is the emotional one, that Sam is the one who is willing to express himself more. Um, it's funny. The show has tried to convince us of this mostly because that is their dynamic, right? They agree with each other that that's their dynamic. There's a bunch of times where Dean is like doing investigations alone. There's one I can't remember the episode, but there's an episode where Dean's doing an investigation alone and Sam is not. Sam is unavailable or dead or something. And he can't connect with the person he's interviewing. And he's like, "Honestly, if my brother was here, he would know what to say to you to comfort you, and he would know what to say to you to, like, get you to open up to me, but my brother's not here, and so you just have to tell me what's going on." And it's like, but the thing is you have the ability to do that too, right? But you guys have convinced yourselves that that's not your position in this dynamic, that Sam's the one who's the gentle giant, and you're the one who destroys things for the sake of saving it or whatever. Yeah, it's a lot of insight about the heart of the show, which is the relationship between these two brothers. I think it's really that's like I said, I love this episode.
Yeah. So they go investigating, and they're like, it leads them to a place where a Santa is like having kids sit on his lap and tell them what they want, and he's being a total creep.
Yeah.
And then when asked, like, oh, are your kids in line? They're like, no. And then Dean's like, it's always been Sam's dream to sit on Santa's lap. And she's like, no kids over 12. And then Sam says, that's okay. We're just here to watch.
So stupid.
Like, why did you say that, Sam?
It's so cringy and stupid. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God.
But
I hate it so much.
I know. Before they come here though, they get a call from Bobby and they're like, "Okay, so this thing you're looking for, it walks with a limp. It smells like candy." There were a couple of like other things. And so while they're watching this Santa, they notice he walks with a limp and they're like, "Do you smell candy?" It's very dumb.
Well, yeah, Sam tells Dean all this stuff, like, before they get up to him, and then when the Santa gets up and he's walking with a limp, Dean's like, and Sam's like, not lots of people walk with limps.
Yeah.
It's like, this was your lead. You said we're looking for someone with a limp. We found a Santa with a limp, and you're like, nah, it could be anything. Like, that was Dean like 5 minutes ago
Yeah.
being like it could be anything, but now Sam has his own lead and he refuses to follow it.
Yeah. But it's funny and they stalk this man.
Yeah, they stake him out and they hear a scream come from his trailer, so they bust in, and it turns out he's just like watching horror movies.
Yeah. And getting
And
wicked
then,
drunk.
yeah, so he's like, what the hell? And then they just decide impromptu caroling.
It was so
and
funny.
it works.
It's so
And it
funny.
fucking works. It's very funny.
It's
But
very
the
funny because it fits the rhetoric of them not having proper Christmases growing up because they don't fucking know the words to Silent Night. And they're just
and
making
he's too drunk to care.
Yeah, he's too drunk to care. They're just making shit up. It was just very funny. Um,
I feel like there's a rule where the stupider the improvised thing is that Dean comes up with, the better it works. Because
was
this is like top tier stupid and it goes off without a hitch. That drunk
it's
guy's just
really
like,
good.
yep, that carolers kick in your door and don't know the words, whatever.
I was just gonna say carolers bust down your door. And he was so happy too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Great scene.
I loved
This
it.
show is so fucking funny, man.
It really is, but really good. So then they go back to their hotel and they're like, okay, let's start over square one. And then another murder happens. They go and investigate, and Sam, being the crack uh, observationalist, notices that there's a wreath hanging over the fireplace in the next person's house that was also in the house of the first person they investigated. Now, this is even more of a stretch for me than Buffy realizing that, oh, I'm an angel's dream. This is like, I'm sorry, you noticed that the wreaths were the same? All right,
Yeah.
sure, I will follow along with that.
And so Dean roasts him for commenting about the wreath. But it's like, I guess he was right because you have to be a little fruity to pick up that these are the same wreaths. So,
You have to be into decor, obviously. It's very funny. Yeah.
and then he's like, no, it was the same roof from the first murder. And he's like, oh, yeah, I was just testing you.
Yeah, and you can tell that Dean doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's like, "All right, you know what? Whatever. We'll just go along with it. Whatever makes you happy, Sam."
Yeah. So they follow the lead for the wreaths. They go to the store, and that leads them to the makers of the wreath, who is a couple who are basically straight out of the 50s, just like in Villains.
Yeah. Yes, very much. Weird 50s couple offering them peanut brittle.
Yeah. And wait, which one's reaching for it? Is it Dean's reaching for
Oh
it and
god,
then Sam slaps his hand?
probably. Dean's the
Uh,
foodie.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So they end up investigating the basement and they find like all kinds of human remains. And then for some reason, the couple was also just in the basement being all quiet that whole time and they jump scare them.
Yeah. Beat him up, tie him up, strap him to the kitchen table or the dining room.
Well, they're tied to chairs, just like in Villains.
Oh, that's right.
They show up, there's a weird 50s couple, there's creepy shit in the basement, they get tied to chairs. We're just doing
Yeah.
Villains again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then they come upstairs and they come to and we get the exposition.
Yeah. So Sam already posited that these were some kind of pagan gods. And this is when they reveal that yes, they are pagan gods. And they just want to fit in. They just want to live in a cul-de-sac and pay taxes and only sacrifice like 4 or 5 people a year, like big deal.
Right.
Because normally they would sacrifice hundreds, but they've fully assimilated into our white suburban culture.
They've modernized, yeah. I really liked them. I liked both of these actors playing them.
Oh, they were
I
great.
thought they were
Yeah.
very fitting. I love the guy just smoking on that pipe in between his
Yeah.
lines, and he's like, his delivery was just so perfect. I loved it.
Yeah, and with that pipe, he looks like all those like classic like 50s drawings of
Yeah.
like the guy with the slick hair and the wood pipe.
Yeah. No, he was great. And then the scene where they start preparing their sacrifice and Dean is like trying not to swear because it's primetime TV and he's like, I don't even know what he says, and she's like, "That's a bad word. When I want to say a bad word, I say, is it, I don't even remember what she
Fud.
says. Fudge. There we go." And he's like, "Lady,
Yeah,
I'm gonna fudge and kill you." It's very funny.
yeah. Dean uses up their like one swear that they get for the network, and then she corrects him, so he has to use fudge for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
And they're about to yank out Dean's tooth, but he's saved by the bell.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
And it's
A neighbor
great.
has come to the door and oh yeah, she mentioned in her little speech, it was like, we're modern now. We even play bridge with the community. And then that's what the neighbors are coming over like, oh, so you come in to play bridge tonight? Or no wait, I think she asked him to go caroling, but she also mentions bridge.
Yeah.
But they say they can't go caroling because the dad's back is acting up. So they close the door, they go back, and of course, Sam and Dee have
Have
escaped.
escaped. And I love that too, because I was like, "Ugh, I don't wanna conceptualize how they're getting out of this." Let's just say they get out of it, right? Because this is supposed to be our standalone Christmas episode. These are the big bads of the single episode. It shouldn't be too complicated, and it's not, so it's great.
Yeah, I don't need Dean pulling Sam's tongue ring out with his
Oh,
teeth.
Lord, yes. Um, yeah, so then they realize they need an evergreen stake to kill them?
Yeah. So yeah, they get the
They
let's make all these steaks,
they throw their Christmas tree to the ground.
and then is this just a fight?
Yeah, because she walks in and she's like, "I loved that tree."
Yeah. So she gets staked first, and he like screams, and then he gets staked a couple times, and he dies. And yeah, gods aren't that hard to kill, huh?
I know.
I mean, some of them later on are, but these are some weak ass gods.
Yeah. I actually think it's interesting in general how this show it embraces, like, pantheism or embraces, like, different deity structures in different cultures and just posits that they're all true and they all exist.
Yes.
It's
And that's the thing I love about all three of these shows is just that basically any folklore that has ever happened
yeah,
can just show up at any time.
yeah,
It's like these are three of my favorite shows. I love anything that will do this. Anything that just like, yeah, some monster from like the 12th century, here it is.
yeah.
And we're gonna teach you all about it too.
Yeah, and honestly, and I guess maybe this will be the hot take for a lot of people, but certainly not for you and me. When you get rid of the trappings of Judeo-Christianity, you really make room for a lot of interesting shit. Like, you really are expanding your worldview, expanding your outlook on things, and I always found it interesting. Like, I had this idea of trying to come up with a demon possession that was, like, not based in Judeo-Christianity, and I've seen a couple of things, and they're always interesting, but maybe kinda missing something because Judeo-Christianity sort of has, like, the monopoly on demonic possession, um, but with regards to other things and other horror subjects, anything that embraces a multitude of cultural perspectives on religion, on, like, the deity structures is far more interesting than something that is, like, locked into Judeo-Christian structures.
Yeah. And that's the thing why I'm never really that into like the whole Catholic horror subgenre. Is it
Mhm.
just it's too specific and everything just feels like it's building off of The Exorcist. And if you try
Yeah.
anything too out of that realm, then you're going too far.
Yeah.
But like I love just the way Supernatural handles Christianity alone with like the angels and the archangels and all this revelation stuff they draw on. Like even horror things that do limit themselves to like Christian lore, they don't explore all the things Supernatural does.
Yeah. It's true.
Which is why I love this. I want to see, like, if you're going to do like a Christian based horror, go crazy with it. Revelation is insane. There's so much you can do. You don't have to just do, like, oh, there's a demon. It's possessing a little girl. We're going to exorcise it. Oh, there's a woman pregnant with the Antichrist for the 900th time.
Yeah.
Like, those are like the two stories you get in every Catholic
Yeah.
horror movie.
Yeah. No, here, the Antichrist ends up being a good guy. Like, it's wild. And I do love that it takes not only the assumptions we have about what angels would be like, what God would be like, what, all of the entities in hell would be like. Like, the king of hell's fucking hysterical. Like, like, there's just all of these things. The angels are assholes. Like, it's great. And so it
Yeah,
takes
that's one of my favorite things,
yeah,
actually.
it takes the beliefs and it establishes, like, okay, the things that you think exist, they do exist, but they're not the way you think they are. And that's great because it's like, not only do they exist, they are super bitter about the fact that other things have been kind of stepping in their territory, and they fucking hate the Winchesters. Like, it's just so good, and it's so complex and just brilliantly done.
And the other thing is, a lot of it, like, we have to do things differently because we're on the CW, so every monster and every entity has to be just a guy, but
Yeah,
they still make it work somehow. Like,
yeah,
even though everyone's, like, a guy,
yeah. No,
they make it interesting and more interesting than a lot of other things do when they have special effects at their disposal that they can just
ag
use.
agree. So, I had one other thing to say, and that was that I really liked how this episode of course, you know Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays their dad. My understanding is that he wasn't able to appear in Supernatural for these roles because he was on Grey's Anatomy, right? And so it ends up I mean, this is another testament to them taking something that maybe shouldn't work, rolling with the punches or whatever. They create this dynamic where their dad's absenteeism shapes their relationship and cements their relationship because they become, like, completely, like, dependent on one another. They have the utmost trust in one another. They absolutely love one another, and it's because they are bonded through their dad's absenteeism. Because it's like, we can't rely on him to take care of us. We have to take care of each other, to the point where Dean chooses to spend what he believes is his last year alive with his brother as much as he can. Like, he spends so much time with Sam this last year because he's like, "It's my last year to be alive. Sam, let's do something. Let's do things. Let's go places. Let's experience stuff." And it's Dean being, "You're the person I wanna be with. You're the person who I belong with in the world," and that ends up eventually being the whole point of the show, right? But, I like that we get that snippet here. I like that they show it's John's absenteeism that really forms their relationship, which in for what you should expect, it should be, like, totally dysfunctional, and, like, they have some dysfunction, right? They have their own problems, but on the whole, they have each other's back.
Yeah. And it is kind of, this sets up why Sam bothers me the whole time is because Dean, like, literally died for him, and then Sam can't have the emotional intelligence to be like, "Hey, maybe he'd like Christmas because he only has one left, and
Yeah.
he only has one left because he sacrificed his soul for me." Like,
Yeah. So the one thing I didn't look up, I assume it's true at this point. I know that Dean keeps it from him for a bit because that's another recurring theme where Dean holds the truth from Sam because he thinks he's protecting him. And I know that he keeps this from him for a while, that he sold his soul so that Sam could be revived because Sam dies briefly. I don't know at this point if Sam knows that the whole reason he did it was to bring him back to life. He probably does because it's a significant way through the season, but I don't know if he knows that. And I think you're right, it makes it worse if he knows. If he doesn't know, I think he's just being insensitive because he would still know, okay, he made some deal, now he's being dragged to hell at the
but
end of the year.
what else would Sam think that he sold his soul for?
I don't know. You're right, he must know the reason. He must know, "You did this, you made a deal to bring me back to life."
Yeah, I feel like he finds out that he sold his soul and why he did it at, like, the same time.
Okay, yeah. Sam's an immature, but, I don't know. There's a lot to be said about the both of their characters, so we could go on for hours. But, at the end of the day, they decide, and Sam gives in and is like, "Let's just fucking do it. We're gonna have a Christmas." And he sets up their hotel room and puts the lights everywhere and gets him some spiked eggnog, and Dean walks in and he's, like, pleasantly surprised, and it's a very touching scene.
Yeah, and this is after this another flashback, or the final flashback, where we see that that Christmas, Dean had kept telling Sam that Dad would show up, and then he tells him, "Oh, Dad did show up. We tried to wake you up, but you just wouldn't wake up. Here's all the presents." Sam opens the presents, and it's a Barbie and a sparkly baton, and first Dean's like, wow, even Dad thinks you're a girl. And then he's like, okay, fine, I stole it from our next door neighbor. I didn't know they were girl presents, I swear.
Yeah.
So Sam had a present for their dad, but since he didn't show up, he gives it to Dean, and Dean's like, no, but he does take it, and it's a necklace, and we see him put on the necklace, and then we cut to the present where he's still wearing that necklace,
Right.
and he comes in the door, and it's all decorated, and Sam surprised him, so they exchange presents that they bought at the gas station.
Yeah, and you know what that reminded me of? Did you ever see Onward? Okay, Onward is that Pixar movie about the two elves who are trying to find a spell to bring their dad back to life for one day, and they perform the spell, but it only works halfway. It's animated. They perform the spell, it only works halfway, and so they resurrect their dad from the waist down. And so it's um this very funny like escapade they go on where they're trying to figure out a way to complete the spell so that they can have a moment with their dad. And at the end of the movie, there's only time for one of them to see the dad after the spell is completed. I don't remember how it happens, but it ends up that they basically the younger brother who has been the most vocal about we get to see dad, that brother essentially says, "You know what? At the end of the day, he's your dad. He was a baby when I died. You have been my dad. And I've gotten everything that I've wanted on this list of things that I want to do with my dad. I've gotten to do all of those things with you. You're the one who missed out on doing all of those things. So why don't you take the moment and like go and you be the one to take the time and spend with dad?" Let me tell you, we saw this in theaters. I cried. Katie cried. We were sitting in the theaters, tears streaming down our face, and this reminded me of that moment because they have the gift giving, and Sam basically says, "Well, I got it for dad, but, like, you're the one who's here for me." And it's very, like I mean, it says a lot about, like, parentification, where one kid has to, like, assume the role of parent over another, but it also says a lot about how the younger kids really do benefit in a way they don't appreciate until they see it from the older kid's perspective, like, when you are the one doing the parenting of the younger kid, it's interesting to see these moments where these characters realize, "You know what? I've been waiting for my parent, but I've been taken care of by someone." So, I don't know, both of those scenes, um this scene reminded me of that movie, and it kind of made me tear up a little bit again.
Yeah, this is definitely the one I got the most emotional over because this is like so sweet.
Yeah.
Never seen a more sentimental scene of someone opening porno mags.
Oh, yeah, and shaving cream.
Yeah. Dean gets motor oil and a chocolate bar.
Yeah. They tell you, what they get too. You get to see what they open.
Exactly. And that's why I love this because the the fact that the gift sucks so much makes it so much better. If you just cut like an X-Files and we didn't see what shitty gas station gifts they got, I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like if you got him like a cool looking knife from a gas station, that's a little too cool. I'm glad it was porno mags and motor oil.
Well, and also that says gas station gifts. Like, if you did an
Yeah.
activity where you just had to go into a gas station and buy the most appropriate thing for someone that you know, you want it to read like, "Okay, I got it from the gas station, and isn't this the best thing I could have gotten you?" I don't know. That was actually not my idea, that was someone else's idea when we were watching the episode. Like, that would be kind of a nifty thing to do, go into a gas station and see what kind of gift you could get for someone. But yeah, it's also reminiscent of the fact that they have continued their lives living hand to mouth every day, and then it's just they're scrappy, they're survivalists, they do what they can, and they protect everyone around them. It's awesome.
But I do have one issue that would have made this episode better for me
Okay.
because there is another father figure. It's Bobby, and Bobby's
Bobby!
only only in this episode as a voice on the phone to explain the monster. He
Yeah.
should be there. There should be a nice Bobby moment in Dean's Last Christmas.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that Bobby doesn't really get his due until way later, and that's just a failing. That's not well, I was gonna say it's a failing of Sam and Dean, but I think really what it is, it's them not being able to let go of the image of John. And once they're able to let go of John and realize that Bobby has been their father for all of these years, then I think they come to accept Bobby is really our parental figure here. It takes them
Yeah.
time, they're still pretty young, they're what, 25 and 28 here, so it takes them time to get to that point. It takes a lot of people time to realize who's really been the main contributor in your life. When you think it should be one person, it's actually somebody else. So, I agree with you. It would have been a nice it would have been a nice gesture to have Bobby in this scene, but I also understand that they're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But anything else?
No. Wait. Actually, I just want to say, I love when Sam's asking about the reef and getting real specific because they need to be that reef, and the sales clerk's like, "Aren't you the fussy one?" And Dean's like, "He is."
Yeah.
And Dean's just so pleased that he said that.
Yeah, really funny.
And in the second murder, I thought it was really funny that the bloody Santa thing that just killed the father walked straight past the kid to grab the cookie before leaving.
Yeah. That was
That's funny.
actually the only question I had about this episode. These gods mention that they are just taking sacrifices, but they're only killing the dads, right? I mean, he walked past the kid. He didn't kill, or did he kill a kid at the beginning?
No, no, they don't kill the kids. They only take the
They
dads.
only
And
take the
I feel
dads.
like they're kind of just it's part of them trying to assimilate. Like you don't kill kids. That's wrong.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they knocked the wife out. They didn't, they're discriminate. They take specifically only the male figures from the house. All right. I can accept
I
that.
feel like I almost feel like there should have been a little hint of like these weren't the best dads either. Because
Oh
we don't
yeah.
get any indication that these were bad dads, but if they were so like just singling out the dads in the community that they thought were the worst, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, I
Which is a
mean,
thing we see a lot in Supernatural is like they're targeting culling the community a bit.
yeah.
There's a couple episodes like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm ready to rate.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you go this time?
All right, I'm giving it 5 Little Tree air fresheners from the gas station.
Very nice. I was gonna give it 5 very full balsam firs covered in multicolored lights.
But do they smell like meadowsweet?
They could. Maybe I'll top it with a meadowsweet sprig.
Aren't you the fussy one?
I guess I am. Anyway, okay, that was so fun, and that's a wrap to our first holiday episode. I'm quite excited. I think Christmas is gonna bring all kinds of fun horrors for us. And next week, what are we gonna be talking about?
We'll be talking about Christmas Evil from 1980, also known as You Better Watch Out.
Ooh, there was another title. I didn't know that. Okay. Sounds fun. I know nothing about it. Alrighty, until next time.
Until next time.
Horror Coast to Coast is a movie review podcast featuring strong language, horror film spoilers, and discussions of violence, gore, and disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 International License. For additional information and other media content, visit theferalthread.com. Thanks for listening. Until next week.